they are. Vim has all of these features. So first, for project-wide identifier search, there is a built-in grep and Vim grep, which is easy to use, almost. This is I copied that directly from Vim help, so you need a bit to learn how to use it. I never used that personally. It was always confusing me, but there is such an option in Vim. The other thing is decent auto-completion, which is possible in Vim using Control-P and Control-N. But when you search deeper, you discover that there are different kinds of completion, like Control-X-F for completing file names, Control-X, Control-K for completing words from dictionary, things like that. I use most of them on daily basis. There's more than that. But sometimes it would be useful to have a broader kind of completion, which is not always easily available in Vim. So there is support, but not that easy. Another thing is renaming things globally, which you can do with args and argdo, which sounds simple, but actually you have to use something like that, which might be very confusing, especially for people who just start with Vim. And another one is a built-in terminal that you can start using :terminal. But for example, when you want to copy something from a buffer to terminal, you have to use this. Can be also quite confusing. So Vim has all of these features, but sometimes they are a bit complex, a bit complicated. Could be easier. That's how I see that. I wanted to also mention there is a series of blog posts, Unix as IDE. I highly recommend to read that. It provides a lot of useful information how to use Unix or Linux tools to have your operating system as your IDE, with Vim being just an editor. Right, so the first feature I want to talk about is the project-wide identifier search. It is possible using tags. Tags are built in. Until Vim 6, they were distributed with Vim. Since then, this is a separate project, and ctags generate an index of names found in source files. This is just a tags file, which has the following format. It finds all your definitions in all the source code that you have and creates an index of them. So it supports over 40 languages, and it is extensible, so you can add your own languages. However, it is unmaintained, so universal ctags should be used instead. It is supported by Vim. You just need a bit of config. Actually, the second line would be enough. Adding relative options allows to search for the tags file everywhere in the project root. And to generate them, you have to run this command ctags -r dot. Yeah, and also to use them, there is a couple commands in Vim. There is a command tag which jumps directly to the tag definition. It doesn't work very well when you have multiple functions or variables with the same name, because it jumps to the first it finds. So in that case, you can use ts or tselect, which displays a list of tags, and you can choose where you want to jump. Or there is also tjump that works the same as tselect, but jumps directly if there is only a single match. So as I said, generating ctags is very easy. You just have to run this command every time you add a new class, function, or variable. Very easy. Or you can use GutenTags. GutenTags is a plugin that allows to seamlessly generate the tags file. You just need to open a file, and it will generate the tags file in the background. There's nothing else you need to do. And it makes life easier. Vim also has a command line option, -t. You can provide a tag, and it will jump directly. Open Vim, open the buffer where the tag was defined, and jump to the line where it is. I often use my own bash function that displays a list of tags with files. So if there are multiple tags in multiple files with the same name, I can easily, it has fuzzy search, so I can easily choose which tag I want to jump to. I spent quite a bit writing this function. Another functionality that IDEs do have and Vim has, but it doesn't work. It doesn't always work well. It's a decent auto-completion. So problems with built-in auto-completion, in my opinion, are as follows. It's sometimes confusing, especially for people that are starting with Vim. It doesn't support many languages. It requires extra languages plugins to support those other languages. It's not syntax aware, so for languages like Python, you also need extra plugins to have support for that. And needs config for every language to enable omni-completion. This is something I found on Stack Overflow, and at some point I had that in my Vim RC. So people came up with alternatives. They created plugins that add nice completion to Vim. I'm pretty sure many of you use some of these plugins. But the one, and there are also language server protocol, something that was developed by Microsoft for VS Code, and it is a server running in background, allowing you adding many functionalities to Vim, like auto-completion, refactoring, and I don't really know what else because I never used it directly, because what I use is Tab9, which uses LSPs, language server protocols, seamlessly. So the only thing you have to do is to install a language server for every language you use, which is not a big issue. It's built on top of uCompleteMe, supports many editors. It uses machine learning, doesn't send your code to the cloud, and it just works. Really, this is the best auto-completion plugin I ever tried. I would recommend to go to its website and see the example screencasts and documentation. There are minor problems with this project. It's commercial, so you have to buy a license. It's closed source, and sadly, it looks dead. The maintainer went silent since the last 2 months, so there are hanging issues in the GitHub. So I do recommend at least trying the free version. It's a bit limited, but it's worth giving it a try. The next feature that I personally really like to have in Vim is renaming things globally. So first, to rename something, we need to find it. Most of people use grep, the standard tool available on Linux. Problems with grep are that it is a bit slow sometimes. It's not recursive by default. It doesn't ignore files that should be ignored, like files in your gitignore. And it also doesn't work very well when you doesn't have a locale set. Like English is not my native language, so to search a Polish text to find something, I would have to set my locale properly, also for other languages. So there are alternatives, ACK, AGPT, and RG. So this is one part. I personally use AG. I know that RG or ripgrep is probably faster from what I heard, and many people use that, but I settle on AG. I also use fuzziness. There are several fuzzy finders which allow you to specify just a part of the search term and pick what you actually need from a list. So I personally use FZF. Basically, they allow you to dynamically filter the input. I use FZF in Bash. Here are some functions that I have. VF allows me to type, say I have a file with a very long name. I can type VF and a few letters from the file name, press enter, and pick the file from a list or open the first one if there is only one match. fkill for killing processes, with fuzzy searching for using the process name, or GTF. This is my favorite one. This is a bit shortened version of the function, but I keep all my projects in the dev directory, so I can type GTF and just part of the project name and jump to it directly. And I also use FZF in GIF. My two favorite aliases are DFF and APF. Git DFF is fuzzy search diff, so if you have a lot of changes in your working directory, you can type git DFF and part of the file name and see diff just for this file without copying or typing the full path of the file. And APF is similar. It's my shortcut for add patch fuzzy. So it allows to add parts of the file that you can find using fuzzy selection. FZF by default has Vim support, maintained by the creator of FZF, which allows you to fuzzy search inside Vim for files, buffers, using AG or RG lines or tags, and many more. So AG for searching, FZF for fuzzy filtering, and Vim together give Vim agriculture. There is a guy called, I think you should pronounce that Jesel Leite. He's German. And he created a plugin called Vim agriculture that combines all those three together and adds AG row command to Vim, which allows you from inside Vim, using just this simple command or the mappings that the plugin adds, to search using FZF across all your projects, using FZF and AG, and easily find or edit whatever you want. You get a list populated with FZF, filtered that list, and all the lines you selected go to a quick list window. And from this window, you can use cdo or cfdo to edit your files. I really wanted to prepare some screencasts, but I failed miserably. But I would advise to go to his website. There is a few videos that show how it works exactly, and it's really worth watching. And here are some examples on how to use AG row. And screenshot. So using Vim agriculture, renaming things globally becomes quite easy. You can just search for your term using the mapping like leader / or leader star when you are on a word. Now your scope, so filter the files you wanted to look at. Select your matches with tab or all of them with Alt-A, press enter. And in the quick fix window, you can just run cdo. That would replace all the terms you looked for in all the files that you selected. And for example, rename food to bar everywhere you wanted. And the last thing is built-in terminal. So Vim currently has built-in terminal since Vim 8. NeoVim also has it. I personally don't use it because before it was introduced, I already knew Slime. Slime is an idea that was taken from Emacs. It's a mode very popular when you edit Lisp, from what I had, because I don't use Emacs. And what it does, it allows you to send parts of your buffers to a tmax window, for example, or screen window, or even Vim terminal. So you can have, I mostly code in Python, so usually I have two terminals next to each other. I have my text in Vim in one terminal. I have ipython running in the other terminal. If I want to try something, how it works, I just write my text in my Vim and press Ctrl-C, Ctrl-L to send like the current line, or Ctrl-C, Ctrl-C to send the whole paragraph or selected area. The mappings are quite unusual for Vim, because they come from Emacs. The idea came from Emacs. I forgot to put on the slide. By default, Ctrl+C sends the whole paragraph that we are on or the selected area. So then there is no need to leave Vim if you want to run something in terminal. And it also works with the built-in terminal. So yeah, so you can avoid jumping to the terminal. And I have that on 2 or 3 slides from here. And it also allows, so ipython have a special mode for pasting code. I have it enabled by default, but there is a simple function to disable it to use, for example, with standard Python shell. Yeah, so to compare, this is how you copy text from your buffer, go down to terminal and paste your code in the terminal in standard Vim, and this is how you do that with Slime, which I personally find very useful. Thank you. So on the first time you try to use it in the current buffer, actually I can show that. So I was trying really hard to record some screencasts to show these functionalities, but I really failed. But I think we could try it now. So I have ipython on the right. Oops. All right, so first I want to copy the function to my ipython, and for some reason, so sorry, I cannot have it side by side. So I have this. I use tmax in all my terminal windows only because of this functionality. I don't need tmax normally because I use tiling window manager. This is enough for me. But I use tmax to have tmax sessions in every terminal, and on the very left side of the bottom line there is a Vim session number. So this one is 14, and I usually have just single pane and single tab in each tmax window. So I will press Ctrl+C to send that to ipython, and Slime asks for tmax socket. It's always default. I think it's different when you have unnamed sessions, but I don't really use them. And then it asks me for the target pane, which for me it's like 14. And then I need to provide the tab. And, sorry, 14 is the window, 1 is tab, and then pane. You have to do that once for each buffer. So next time when I want to send this line, it won't ask me anymore. Thank you. Yeah, thanks. If you are interested, I could show that Vim Agriculture, how it works as well. Yeah, but I will stand like that, sorry. Sorry, no. So this is the GTF I mentioned, whoops. GTF I mentioned for jumping between projects. I have sources of Flask. And so I had also VF for fuzzy searching for a file. So let's say I search for WR, and it shows me a list of files that match the search string. And I also have previous, yeah. So this is, and request is defined here. So using Vim Agriculture mapping space star, I can search for all occurrences of this string in the whole project. This is FZF showing them. I can scroll this list. For example, I don't want anything from docs folder or changes RST, so I can scope this down by using Flask. So it will consider only files, paths that start with Flask, and I also want those that contain py. So now I can choose which line I want to change. For example, this line. Pressing tab allows me to choose which line I want to change. Oops. Sorry, I'm not used to this keyboard. yeah, this one, this one, this one, this, and this. So after I selected them, I press enter, and quick fix window is populated with them. All I have to do now is to run cdo, and I want to rename, for example, request to Flask request. So I search for this word and replace it with Flask request, all occurrences of the line. You can also add update at the end. So all the files are written, but because I use neomake, it does some auto formatting, so it doesn't work for me. What I use, I just save all the files. Yeah. So now all the changes are here. Using git dff I've shown before, for example, for app, this is what I need to type, and it lets me select which file I want to add. Is change, sorry, which it was dff. APF is for adding changes. Yeah, that's how it works, more or less. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tomasz.